Hey, okay, so we are still working on opinion papers, and I thought this would be a good time for us to read the book Facts versus Opinions versus Robots. And let's read the sentence. It says, see how it helps to listen to each other's opinions? If we notice the end of this sentence, it has a question mark, which means it can only be what type of sentence? It can only be a question, which means it's interrogative. And as I'm writing this word, I'm looking at this part, interrog. That's like the word interrogate. So like a police officer interrogates somebody for a crime. They ask them questions to kind of find out what's going on. So interrogative is a question. We'll get to sentence structure in just a little bit, and subject and predicate. All right, so let's just get started. We're just going to dig right in. So it says, see how it helps to listen to each other's opinions. When I'm trying to go through this sentence and I'm trying to find people, places, or things, see isn't how it's kind of a thing. It's a replaced word for something that is referring to something else. So that's called a pronoun. There's a couple of pronouns in this sentence. Helps to listen to each other's opinions. All right, so each other is replacing a word for like who the people specifically are. So instead of listing them out, so instead of saying, okay, each other's opinions, instead of Miss Jordan's and Miss Phillips and Mr. Kreitel's and Miss Blakeney and whoever's opinions, it's being specific, or it's being less specific. So this is a type of pronoun, both of these words together, but there's also a very specific extra thing right here. It's this thing right here. Hopefully you remember that is called an apostrophe. I don't know why I paused because it's a video. You're not going to say it back to me. But an apostrophe is either used when something is a contraction, and that's where you're taking two words and putting them together. Or if you're trying to show that something belongs to something else, you're showing that it possesses something. It's possessive. All right, so let's think about that. Usually if it's an apostrophe S, that's supposed to be like is or was. Each other is opinions. Each other was opinions. No, neither of those work, so it's not a contraction. That means it's showing that the opinions belong to each other. So this is a possessive pronoun right here. And opinions are things. They're ideas. And it has an S on the end. So it's actually going to be not just a noun, but it's going to be a plural noun. Because that means there's more than one opinion, not just one. So we've got all these things. Let's look for some verbs. There's a lot of action going on in here. So seeing, that is an action. It's something that you do. How it helps, helping is a verb. To listen is another verb. All right, so now we only have 3 words left. How, to, and then to again. To and to, that's something we should have memorized at this point, but to is a preposition. Kind of showing the positioning. Helping, the listening is supposed to be with the helping, and the listening is supposed to be positioned with each other's opinions. So preposition, but that's just one that you really honestly just need to memorize, and anytime it comes up, you're like, oh, that's a preposition. I just know that one. So the only word we have left is how, and how is an adverb. It's kind of describing the seeing a little bit. I know that's kind of a weird way to look at it, because especially since the seeing is before the adverb, but it kind of links together. All right, so now we need to figure out the sentence structure and subject and predicate. There are not many subjects and predicates in here. There's not even many nouns in here. There's pronouns. So is the subject who's doing all the action is the it? Not really, because I'm looking at this it and it says it helps. Well, the it is actually kind of referring to an action. It's not even referring to a person, actually. It's referring to an action. So the action is not the subject of the sentence. All right, if I'm looking for the other nouns, each other. So is each other doing the actions? No. They're part of the listening and seeing and all that, but they're not the ones that are actually doing it. And the opinions aren't doing the action either. So that's a little confusing, isn't it? But I don't know if you guys noticed, because some of us talk like that. We're like, see? But really what's kind of missing here, it's like blank. It's like a secret mystery. It's almost like before the sentence we have something that belongs there that we skipped. And that's like kind of like the beginning of the question. Like, and it's a do you see? So, do you see how it helps to listen to each other's opinions? That's like not in there, but it kind of is. I don't really know if there's an official English word for that, but I just happen to know, because I've been working with words for long enough, that it's kind of missing. It's the do you. So do you see how it helps to listen to each other's opinions? So see is what we're being like kind of asked to do in a way. It is a question, but so it's not an action. It's not an imperative. Nobody's forcing them to do that. But who's doing the seeing? Hopefully you. So I'm going to put you in parentheses because it's not actually in the sentence. It's kind of like in that secret mystery section. And the seeing is the action. And who's doing the seeing? Hopefully you. You see. And then the sentence structure, there's not any two parts to this phrase. It's all just kind of one thing, and it all belongs to each other. There's not two parts that are separate, or punctuation or conjunctions or interjections and things like that. So we are going to call this a simple sentence, even though it's a weird one. We can be simple and weird. All right, guys, that's it. Bye.